Welcome to Hardheaded Podcast. We're excited that you've joined us as we have a conversation. We found that a good conversation allows us to share what's on our mind, whether current events, what's grinding our gears, or our pet peeves.
It also allows us to share our top 3, a list of our favorite things on any given subject, most of which are highly opinionated. In closing, we share a good word. Solid friendships are encouraging. Even if we joke and give each other a hard time, our ultimate responsibility is to uplift each other.
Our goal is that you'll feel like you're part of the conversation, like you were in the studio with us, and that you feel encouraged after tuning in to our podcast. It's time to join the conversation. All right, everybody, welcome to today's podcast. I'm glad you are with us. Today, we've got Chet bringing us what's on his mind. Our top 3 is our top 3 dream jobs, and Troy will be bringing us the good word. So let's kick it off with Chet. What's on your mind?
The social credit system. What comes to mind when I say that?
My money.
Social credit. It reminds me of an episode of Black Mirror.
Ooh.
You would watch that show.
The one with the girl.
Yep, everything is based on if you have a weird interaction in public, they can downrank you.
Yeah.
And if you do something good, they can uprank you, and then that
So like Reddit.
and then that attaches to everything for,
It's like a 5-star system, like Google 5 stars or whatever, Amazon 5 stars, however you rank it, but for you.
for your
Well, yeah, that's like what they do on Reddit.
No, but
On
this
your
is
account, right? They uprank you or downrank you.
yeah, but this is in this episode it's your life.
Right. I'm following you.
So that downrank, in that episode, she was looking to get this house, and then she did something, so had an interaction or talked to somebody that was a lower rank than she was, and then that brought her rank down, and then she couldn't get the credit to get this house that she wanted, and then it was a spiral down to where she was just trying to thumb rides to get from one place to the other. So to me, that's what I think of when I think social credit.
That is a very good good way to think, good direction to think from a social credit system. But how you behave is going to impact on what you can do as a citizen. You may or may not be aware, but China implemented a social credit system back in 2014. You could argue that they have always had one that's in there. It's to some extent, but it's a pretty detailed social credit system. So basically, everybody in China starts out with 1,000 credit points, and based on your behaviors and your interactions with people, you could either be upgraded or downgraded based on the number of points. You could have points deducted or points added. Like you could donate blood, and that's a good thing to do socially.
Point added.
There you get some points that are added. You could be a positive influence in your neighborhood and do some things to help engage with neighbors and maybe host a little neighborhood get together and
Be the president of the HOA.
maybe something along those lines. You could have one of your elderly family members move into the house with you so you could take care of them. Another good thing that could really help improve your score. But if you jaywalk, then you could have points deducted. If you don't visit your aging parents regularly, you could have points deducted. If you post something that the government doesn't view favorably on your social media account, you could lose points in your social credit system. You could spread a rumor on the internet, then you lose points as well. The problem or the penalties here could be if you have a lower credit score, they could actually take your driver's license away, or they could not allow your kids to go to higher performing schools. So they can only go to certain lower performance schools that are there, not get as good of an education. You can lose the ability to have certain jobs for the government. Like if you have a lower score, they're like, oh, you're not going to be employed in any government job. They could actually run ads. If you get so far low, they could put you on the news and just talk about how poor you are socially.
How terrible your social
Pictures.
credit is.
You know, like you bounce a check at a gas station and then they're going to put your picture up there. Well, no, this is going to be like, oh, we're and on the 6 o'clock news, Troy has hit a low score today. Let's go to the tape. But if you score high, you actually get discounts on public transportation. You could get your kids in the best schools that are there. You could get loans. So if you have a low score, may not be able to get a loan even. You get free memberships to gyms. You get bumped to the front of the line at a hospital instead of having to wait for people that have lower scores, which is very similar to the Black Mirror episode.
Very similar.
The lower your score. And, this is alarming to me. And my first thought about all of this is like, oh my gosh, communist China. That's scary. But we live in the United States. And there's a couple things that I have some, that we could fall back on. Number one, we have a constitution. And that's definitely something that, China doesn't have that delineate the freedoms that were given to us by God, not by our government, right? They detail those. And then it also limits what the government's capable of doing. So that's a really good thing for us that'll keep us from getting in that. And then we also have these red-blooded Americans that are just going to stand up and fight for us. Why are you grinning? That would just totally not allow any of this social credit stuff to happen.
I have a feeling I know where he's going. Go ahead.
What if I told you
It's already happening.
it's already here? What would you say?
I would agree.
What evidence do you have that it's already here?
Cancel culture.
Cancel culture. What do you mean by that?
So if you say something, if you're a high profile individual, Joe Rogan, for example, or other, because it's hard to cancel Joe, but an unpopular opinion that goes against public belief, the majority of public. And then they're like, oh, cancel that. They take you off of the chick that got fired at Disney or whatever. They just, you're out.
Okay.
So that it's a form of it.
Yeah, they're not necessarily like a scoring system, but you did one thing that's bad and we're going to shut you down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's an extreme example that's happening, I would say.
Okay. Do you have any less extreme examples that may be happening?
Not off the top of my head.
I would say the move to digital currency is helping that as well.
It is laying the groundwork for it, maybe?
To be able to access people's funds and shut them down. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they can do that now because most of our money is digital anyway.
In a bank, yeah.
So let's and the tagline, by the way, that China put out with this social credit system, so in their propaganda, the trustworthy can roam everywhere while the discredited can't take a single step. So it's definitely, if you go along with the program, you could do whatever you want to do. But if you do not go along with the program,
you can't do
anything. So let's just talk about a few things that are going on that happened in the United States. Let's just say in the last 2 years. Vaccine passports. Anybody remember that?
Yep.
You mean the passports that they said would never happen?
Yeah. There were
and you got called a conspiracy
theorist.
theorist?
States and cities actually implemented vaccine passports, and you had to show them to do what? Just to dine at a restaurant.
Go to a concert.
Yeah. How
Did
many
that in Kansas City?
How many of those social media posts and news reports about the doctors that said they're going to refuse to treat anyone that didn't get a vaccine? Everybody remember that?
Yep.
Is that too far outside of our memory? What about, there's an artist that I really, really, really like, still listen to his music, coming to Wichita, but this artist said, you can't come to my concert unless you show proof of vaccine. Like you can't even come to see me live unless you show your vaccine card. We had some colleges that
Who was
said,
that?
Jason Isbell.
I don't know who that is.
Yeah, because I'm not surprised you don't watch good movies or probably listen to good music. I'll introduce you to him, though. He's really good. We had some colleges that were, hey, if you're not vaccine compliant. We're probably not going to admit you here. You know, that happened not too long ago. What about employees just getting fired if they don't get the vaccine?
Yep. Saw that happen.
Yeah. What about you trying to post something on social media and there's somebody in that social media company that said, you know what? You can't post that because we don't deem that to be true. Even though what you posted was actually true.
Right.
But we saw some of that happen as well. What about companies like PayPal saying, you know what? Matt is known to be fringe. You can't transact with that person in PayPal anymore. Would that happen here or has it already happened?
I think I read something that's already happened.
Banks, it has. What about banks that say, you know what? I know you want a small business loan to get your business started, but since you want to sell guns, we're not even going to allow you to get a loan from our bank. Just can't do that. We're not going down that path.
That goes along with MasterCard. I believe it's MasterCard and one other one that won't even let you purchase a gun with that card.
So I'm telling you today, what we need to be concerned about is how this has already happened and how it's happening. We have our Constitution to protect us from the government doing this to us, which we all know the government doesn't really care about the Constitution anyway. But let's just say if we're just not going to allow the government. But if you look at what's happened with our society in America today, they are implementing a social credit system through their freedoms of behavior. I'm not going to allow you to use my platform to do business with me because you don't have the credit score that you need to have socially because you don't agree. And what's happening is what I've seen, we're all okay with it. We can say we don't like it, but nobody's doing anything to stop it. Nobody's actually even talking about it. This whole free speech thing, right? Oh, they're just shutting us down. We can't talk about that kind of stuff. You go to follow certain people on social media today, they're going to say, whoa. Hey, I know you clicked that you want to follow this person.
Are you sure?
But are you really sure? Because they don't align with my company's, social media company's views of what they should believe or talk about. So I don't think you should do that. You're going to have to click again just to make sure, right?
They're doing that now?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So we're living in this environment already. I know that China actually has the formal program that's out there, and it's alarming in the fact that they do it not only for individuals, they do it for corporations. Corporations have their own social score. 80% of all the regions of China have already have this implemented all the way down to it. So much so that's one of the reasons that they give free phones to everyone, because they can track them. They could track their movements. They could tell if they jaywalked or not based on their little GPS location. They could tell if they're visiting their parents or not because they know where they've been, because they have a device that tracks them everywhere they go.
They've been giving away free phones in this country since Obama.
Troy!
Bam! They used to line up out front my old office because we worked.
That's not an ulterior motive to that. They're just doing that to benefit the people.
That's
Troy.
right. We worked right across the street from the state building, and they were lined up every third Thursday of the month passing out free phones.
It's very clear that the social credit system exists to control absolutely every aspect of a human's life, every bit of it. So where they walk, who they talk to, what they say when they talk to them, how well they're taking care of their parents, whether or not they're taking care of their parents, where they work, how much time they're putting in at work, every bit of it's controlled. And the end state of the system is that there is a unified record for people, businesses, and the government, which would be monitored in real time. So one of the other things that's really interesting about this program, as it stands right now, they actually employ citizens to take notes on the people they live near.
Tattletales.
Yes. And to say, and they actually have a quota. They have to turn in so many violations.
So you're talking about
to
in
keep
China
their paycheck
right now. You're talking about China right now? Or you think this is going on right now?
Well, you tell
in
me,
America?
Troy.
I don't know. There's always that one neighbor.
This is in China right now specifically. But that part of their data gathering program right now is literally paying individuals to turn in information on folks.
How much are they paying them?
I don't know.
You looking for a job?
Yeah.
And he can meet his quota every time he visits with us. There's no doubt about it.
These
That's
guys.
right.
So I'm just saying, number one, this social credit system exists, and it's got potential across the board. And if you look at it exists in China, it exists here today. It's not formalized yet.
Well, during COVID, they didn't pay attention to the Constitution with the crap they were doing.
Right.
So-
and we were okay with it.
Well, and all it takes is another disaster for everybody to fall back in line.
Maybe. What kind of, would it be a man-made disaster? I mean,
Isn't that what COVID was?
I'm just telling you.
Oh, well,
You could just, yeah.
that's your social credit score.
That was a question. He asked that in the form of a question.
Oh, did you? I didn't
Yeah,
hear
it was
I
a
didn't,
question.
I didn't hear
for
the
sure.
Yeah?
Isn't that what it was?
Isn't that what they did?
Aren't there some crazy people that say that about COVID?
Oh my god!
But there's a lot of that's coming in there. I mean, even my former industry, you get into in the way that you manage your home, with smart thermostats, is which is a neat thing. They give you a discount, whatever else. But like in California, when the power grid can't sustain all of the customers at the hottest part of the day in the summertime, if you have one of these smart thermostats, they'll actually dial back your temperature setting in your home, so there's not as much of an energy load, so they could keep providing energy.
So how does that
everybody
work?
else.
Are all those things Bluetooth to the internet or
Wi-Fi
Wi-Fi to
capable.
the?
Yeah.
Wow, they'll just hack into your home and turn your air.
No. It's voluntary. But you'll get a tax incentive if you, or a price break on your energy bill if you buy one of these thermostats, put it into your home. But
Do you have one?
we're not that far off from that being mandated in building codes.
I'm just getting fired up, man.
If you just step back and look at the big picture, like what's going on with cryptocurrency, just in the last few weeks, there's been legislation that our government is working on to control, to say this can't be independent. We have to have,
Right.
We have to control.
like the Federal Reserve, which is a non-government organization, has to be able to control this some way, because the biggest threat to what's going on is independently spending your money. So if we look at what happened with the truck driving protesters in Canada, which I think that your average U.S. citizen within Canada is not that far off from the U.S. on some of their freedoms, and we know that's not necessarily they're not as free, especially when it comes to speech and things like that. But the Canadian government said, okay, these guys are terrorists because they're protesting in a way that we don't want them to, right? By driving trucks and parking them and honking horns,
peacefully protesting.
setting up bouncy houses and letting their kids play. So we're going to shut their bank accounts down. If we know you're here, you're not going to be able to use your bank. And then they went a step further. So the natural thing is oh, how dare they do that? I want to support those people that are there so they could still buy food and support their family while they're protesting.
They shut them down.
So we're going to start up a GoFundMe. Well, they shut down the GoFundMe. Well, they didn't do it. They asked GoFundMe to do it because they're a U.S. company. And GoFundMe said, sure, we'll shut that down. And then they gave over, these are the people that have donated that live in your country.
GoFundMe gave that information over.
And they went and started shutting those people's bank accounts down for $5 donations.
It's the last time I used GoFundMe.
So I'm just telling you, that is a credit system, right? These people are doing things that are not favored by the government. And what we have today is voluntary participation in a very severe social credit system that's going on. And we're okay with it. I know you're getting fired up. I'm not going to use GoFundMe anymore.
But yeah, what else can I do?
That's the big question. Is everybody's like, well, I just want to go. I got 5 kids at home. Who cares about this? And that's exactly what the powers that be
That's what
know is happening.
Yeah.
They know, the people that know better, they just want to be left alone and go do their thing. But where we are already, we're never going to be. Our kids are not going to be left alone.
Right.
You're going to pay taxes on your trailer. We talked about that last week. And if you don't, we're going to come and get everything you've got.
My social credit.
Yeah. No, but I mean, we're going to seize we're going to shut down your bank account until you do what you want us to do.
Well, we're just going to take your money.
But that's why cash is a bad thing. And if you look at one of the main reasons you don't want to just have wads and wads of cash is because it's not protected against what?
Theft.
Inflation. Right? I take $100 out a month and a half, 2 months ago, and I could fill up my gas tank twice. I have that same $100 2 months from now. I can't fill up my truck once. So that cash that I had, it wasn't invested in something that's gaining appreciation, is less valuable now. So why do I don't want to have a whole bunch of cash. I'm going to want to put that into something. Well, if I put that into something, it's all electronic from that point forward, which is more under the thumb of control from whatever entities that want to partner with a government that wants to control you. And then if you look at it, like just let's step back. Let's just go way back and not into so much of a conspiracy thing. Your credit score. Is your credit score good or bad, or do you care?
I don't really
Did you know
care
that if you had $5 million and you bought all your cars in cash, bought your house in cash, paid all, you just never owned a credit card, never had anything to do with a credit card, never went into debt on anything, did you know your credit score would be horrible?
Be 0.
So that score is really for the credit card company, the credit companies.
Yeah.
And so your behavior, I know people that say, well, I can't do that right now because it's going to impact my credit score. So they're already controlling people's behavior based on a scoring system that benefits them. Because you think if it benefits them, well, they're going to give you a kickback and it's going to benefit you a little bit. You're going to get a little better interest rate here, a little better interest rate there. But the reality is, if you weren't in the credit system, your score would be really, really, really bad for them. And then you may not be able to get a loan like you wanted to if you happen to do, maybe somebody stole all your cash and you need to get a loan. They're like, hey, we don't have a record of you having a past credit history here, so we're not going to give you a loan, because your score's bad. Well, how do you know that I'm bad at that? Well, because you haven't been doing business with us. You haven't been, dancing our tune. So, I mean, it's been out there. There's been elements of this that's already been out there that we've accepted. We advertise, go do this and you'll get a better credit score, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, and everybody's like, yeah, I got to do this for my credit score. I want to buy a house at a lower interest rate. I want to do this. I want to do that. Well, this is the same thing, but it's actually going to dig into every aspect of your life. And China has implemented formally from the government down. What we have in America today is random people that voluntarily and random companies that voluntarily participate in this. And what we do know is those companies that are participating in this don't side with conservatives at all.
Amazon.
So
Amazon's a big one.
How do they participate in the social credit system?
They actually track
what?
the purchases.
Yeah.
Per person.
Oh, okay.
Like what you buy and stuff like that.
Yeah. They just track your behavior.
Yeah, but then and I'm not 100% sure on this, I've only heard it, but they can actually report that when asked. Like, hey, what's this person when they're trying to background people?
Oh, yeah. Yep. So anyway, social credit system, it's here. What you doing about it?
Absolutely nothing. Because what can you do?
It's on your shirt.
What, live local?
I think the way around most of this stuff is, and they're going to call it militia.
Air quotes around that.
Air quotes.
That's what they're going to call it, but is having solid groups of neighbors and people that are close to you that you can mutually support each other. They don't, and that's the whole reason for a lot of this division is they want everybody separated. They want everybody fighting so that they can get stuff like this through so nobody's paying attention. Whereas if you have solid relationships with your neighbors, you have where you can mutually support each other and be like, hey, I've got this, I can help with this, I can help with this. And just being community involved, those people that know you and that you have good relationships with aren't going to be the ones that turn you over, that say, hey, because they actually did that they've been doing this since 9/11. The whole tagline, if you see something, say something. And so they've been programming people to think like that. Hey, if you think your neighbor might be involved in some terrorist activities, if you see something or you think you see something, say something. And I in the terrorist aspect of it, I get it. Hey, I saw some suspicious activity over here. I don't know exactly what it is, but whatever. And then they can go investigate that. But it's easy to.
But they never give that up. So how many attempts to blow up an airplane with a shoe bomb happened? How many attempts were there?
One.
How long ago was that? 5, 10, 15 years, 20 years?
Way more than that.
I don't know.
20?
Why are we still taking off our shoes every time we go to the airport?
Make sure there's not a bomb in it.
But I mean,
I guess.
But they didn't stop that one.
I'm just saying they never give anything back.
That was the reason for the fluids, why you couldn't have more than 3 ounces of fluid. That was the change for that one.
But here's the overall, and I'm going to disagree with something you said. I agree with community, and you be small, like you ought to know the people around you, and that's where your community ought to be, right? And they can protect against that. But the willful, joyful participation into what we saw implemented in the last 2 years tells me that we're not stopping this. Like, people are buying, and the fact there's a little bit of hope because some of this stuff is being reversed, which I didn't think a lot of it would be, because the facts are starting to get out there now, and people are like, "Oh, we were just fleeced for 2 years." Like, this is, So maybe there was an overstep so fast and so drastic that people are like, "Wait a minute, these vaccines aren't all that great. Why should I have to get 4 now?" Which, by the way, 4 boosters. If you want it to be effective. But I mean,
effective in quotes.
Air quotes.
Yeah,
effective.
We're laughing at it, but at the same time, there were people that knew that this vaccine wasn't going to prevent the spread of anything, but they still required you to go get it, and then you had to have documentation, and you had to show that documentation to buy a hamburger in New York City. Like, and everybody's like, you know what? It really stinks, but I really want a hamburger. I gotta get one.
But and that's how I think you reverse at least some of this stuff. Is if kind of like me, I wanted to go to France and go to Bellawood and do the whole Marine Corps Bellawood type tour. Well, can't go because they require you to be vaccinated. And I was like, I'm not doing that. New Zealand, same way. I've got a red stag hunt there that I was supposed to go on in 2019. Never went on because COVID, and then the constant.
Yeah, they shut down everything at first.
They shut everything down, and then now it's, hey, you've got to be vaccinated to be in our country.
Which it's not going to prevent you from carrying the virus over there.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
But I was talking to a buddy of mine who's a travel agent, and he said, I was like, well, I'd like to go. And he was looking at all this. I was like, but did they require a vaccine to go to France? And he's like, yep. And I was like, well, then I'm not going to go. And he goes, yeah, I don't know when. He goes, I don't know if they'll ever open up. And I go, they will. I go, because their economy is going to tank because tourism is huge there. They did. It's no longer required. Within 2 weeks of that discussion, they opened it up because their economy was hurting so bad from lack of tourism that they had to do away with the vaccine restrictions.
I'm just telling you, that whole circle of restrictions and movement, and it's going to get to the point where employment, right?
They tried.
And they did it.
They did it. And now what are they saying? We don't have enough nurses. We don't have enough staff, but they're claiming
they fired them all.
But
right.
But they're going to pull it back. But how many of the employees, there's only several hundred people in the entire Air Force that didn't get vaccinated. Right. I mean, so it's not like, oh, that was a failure on their part. They pulled it back. Well, actually, they got 97% participation in that.
Yep.
So I would say,
well, and there's going to be a lot of people that groan at the word because it's kind of become cliche, but it's sheep. People that are too afraid to act on their own judgment.
But a lot of that, and I think the problem that we're dealing with, and we're going to have to wrap this up because we talk about it all episode for hours, but we could say screw the man, right? Like the government can't do that, blah, 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 blah. But if you have like John Doe doctor saying you can't be my patient anymore.
Right. But that's how they're getting around it, is these big corporations that are tied in with government. The government's saying, hey, do this, do this, do this. And I'm sure that there's kickbacks.
But you have specifically small individuals that are signing up to this and executing it. You had like the whole vaccine passport thing at a restaurant. It was the waiter or the waitress that actually you had to show your passport to. It wasn't a big corporation.
Right.
It was, Jenny, she was the one that said, yeah, I'm going to take your order, but you're going to have to show me your passport first. And those people are why this is going to happen. Right?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Not the big corporations. It's everybody signing up and saying, yeah, we're going to do this anyway.
But that's why I'm saying it's your neighbor.
I need my job.
That's why I'm saying it's your neighbor.
But your neighbor is going to follow along with it. Your neighbor's going to be the one that's writing notes and hitting their quota just to turn you in.
And then they
And by the way,
disappear.
I don't know if you know this, but Reno County, he got another trailer that he's not paying taxes on. Like, they're coming after you, man.
Oh, I'm doing it all under the table next time.
So anyway, social credit system. And I'll tell you this right now. I'm 100% confident. This is not, if you haven't heard of this before, this will not be the last time you heard of it. And if you've heard of it before, get more familiar with it. It is here, and it is going to get worse and worse and worse as we keep going forward. And
I don't disagree with that. I mean, it's biblical. I mean, it is.
Yep. So anyway, that's what's on my mind. Just a light subject.
I need a break. I need a commercial break, please.
He's getting ready to call and text and report all of your actions here, Chet.
1797, establishing dominance. A young nation begins the formation of the world's most formidable fleet of naval ships with the commissioning of its first ship, the U.S. frigate Constellation. A lively blend of rosemary, lemon, and peppermint, 1797 is a great blend to start your day. It is a great awakening quality with a minty kick. Much like stepping out on a deck of a ship cruising the brisk ocean waters, this blend will give you that early morning boost. 1797, establishing dominance.
Check it out at admiralspennant.com. Without it, you might as well shave.
And we're back.
We're back. All right. Moving on to our top three. After we took a little break there to kind of refresh, to
lighten the mood.
Lighten the mood a little bit.
Yeah.
Because I feel I get more upset the more I listen to you talk.
You're not the first person that's told me that.
All right, so our in this new social,
as long as you don't look at me like my kids do when I start telling them something.
Oh, Dad. But our top three today in our new social credit system, top three dream jobs.
If you have a high enough score, then maybe you could get one of these jobs.
I'm thinking my top job is going to be Tattletale.
Yeah. All the perks.
All right, but we're going to kick it off. Troy, dream jobs, top three.
All right. Number 3, professional gambler.
Ooh.
I love to play cards, so I think if I could get paid to do that.
You can.
I know, but I'm not that good.
Just like poker? Just poker or like everything? Like you're going to run a craps table?
No, I would probably just play poker.
Yeah?
Probably Texas Hold'em.
Yeah?
Yeah. That'd be fun.
I've never beat him at Texas Hold'em.
Never? We'll have to play.
I think we only played once.
Yeah, we played once and we played tournament style and you were the last one. Or you were the first one to leave the table.
When everybody brought coolers, like I don't know, it wasn't that late when we started. But
yeah, around 8.
I was pretty certain that this thing was not ending anytime soon. And
They usually last about 3 hours.
I was like, let's risk it.
In and out.
And it was a bad hand to risk it on. And see you guys later.
Yep.
I think I'd have to go with roulette. If I was a professional gambler.
You're just a professional picker. I mean, you're just as effective as like one of those chickens pooping on the card.
Hey,
You know what I'm talking about?
yeah, I'm pretty good at it.
He likes that one.
All right. That's okay one.
All right, number 2, bass fisherman.
Ooh.
Tournament bass fisherman. I would love that.
I don't know, man.
Be out on the lake all day,
See,
catching big
That's
old
a lot of
fish.
stress. That's a lot of stress.
it's a lot of stress. And then when you take something like that becomes a job, it no longer becomes an enjoyable hobby.
But these are dream jobs. Like in the dream,
That would turn
You would
into
be good at
I'm
it.
freaking awesome at it, and I'm the number one.
Okay, I got you. All right.
I'll
Yeah.
never forget the down there fishing Lake Fork is the best fishing day I've ever had, bass fishing. And we were on them. That was a good day. I caught my 10-pound bass. And the day before that, I hooked in one bigger than that, and he got off right at the boat. We were just on the spot.
Matt just gave it
Yeah.
a look.
Right.
We were just we were on the spot, and we were fishing live bait. I mean, it was what we do. And it was they had the big Texas Bass Classic. So the top 50 bass fishermen across three bass circuits were there. And this dude hit this cove that we were in. He had the cameraman in his boat, all this stuff. And where we're tied up. Like, so he was trying to determine if he could squeeze in between the bank from where we were, or if he had to go all the way around us. And there was plenty of room to go between the bank. And we weren't even fishing in that direction. Like, we were fishing out towards the middle. And so he decided to kind of come in there, and he's just eyeballing us. And then 45 minutes of fishing near us, within earshot of everything that we're saying and looking at what we're doing. We probably catch, 6 or 7 bass, all over 5 pounds. He hadn't caught a single one of them. And that dude wanted to murder us because we're just these, Joe Blows, tied up to a stump, fishing with live bait, and he's over here trying to win. And I think the pot there is like over $100,000.
Oh wow.
And we're catching all these fish, and he's not. Of course, he has to fish artificial and whatever else. I don't know if he knew why we were tied up where we were, but there's a specific underwater feature that we were fishing, and he's pounding the banks, which weren't where the bass were. But he did not enjoy bass fishing that day. I can tell you that, because he was watching us catching them and we weren't. But that'd be fun.
Nice.
Yeah, it's early. You got to get up early for that.
All right, number 1. Independently wealthy.
Just inherit the money.
Manage my independent wealth.
Be my own financial advisor and manage my independent
Be your own boss.
wealth.
Yep.
No, you're your own boss right now.
Yeah, but I'm not independently wealthy.
All right.
Yeah. That's it. 1, 2, 3.
Boom. I'll go. Number 3. Professional sleeper.
You guys are awesome.
Get paid to sleep. And it is an actual job
Really?
that I might go do.
What
Literally.
are they to run tests on people
Yeah,
sleeping
so
or something?
the companies that put out the mattresses and stuff like that, they will pay you. They'll give you the mattress and pay you to sleep. And then there are different sleep studies where, the scientists or whatever will run a study, and they'll pay you to sleep for days.
Days?
Yeah,
What do
yeah.
they give you to do
Nothing,
that?
nothing. They're just like, here, do this, and they do different room temperatures and different conditions and find out like what's optimal for you as you sleep. And then they compile all these numbers and run the data and stuff like that, so they can obviously put that into marketing for the
Matt, you're looking really refreshed. Yeah, I had a long day at work.
slept for 18 hours. But it's an actual job, and there's one that it's like a 70-day study, and I think they pay you like $18,000 for the 70 days, something like that. So
Sign me up.
I mean, it's not huge, but I mean, you're not spending any money, you're sleeping.
Yeah.
Perfect. But that would be dream job number 3, just sleep. Number 2, professional soccer player. in Europe, because those dudes make way more money than any NFL player currently playing the game.
Yeah.
I can't remember. It might be Messi, who is the highest paid at him or the Ronaldo, the other one. But those two are like,
you're surprised I know their names.
Huge.
Oh, okay.
Like they make all these contracts, like the ones that Mahomes just signed, look like chicken feed. I mean, hundreds and hundreds. I mean, close to, I think one of them is close to like $1 billion just on his soccer stuff.
Wow.
Which is crazy. A lot of money in European soccer. Plus the fans are absolutely crazy. I wouldn't want to play in Brazil because those guys get shot if they,
Wow.
I can't remember if it was Brazil or Colombia, but one of those countries, one of the goalies, I think, screwed up, and it was an easy miss and lost him a game, and then they shot him when he got off the bus. So I don't want to play in a place like that. But the Europeans do take soccer very seriously as well. I mean, they'll get in a bar fight and, beat you up. Number 1, retired. That's it.
That's a bit like being independently wealthy.
Yeah.
Yep. And I am retired. I've chosen to go back to work, but at a whim, I could just go back to being retired and be completely fine, which is always number 1. I love it.
All right.
Until the government folds and social credit, and then they go, "Oh nope, you don't get your entitlements anymore because your number went." We're taking your retirement. We're taking your caregiver stipend. We're taking everything.
All right. You ready?
Yep. Kick it off.
Fighter pilot, number 3.
I like that.
That was my dream job as a kid. Might as well be my dream job now too.
Top Gun inspire that, or just?
I mean, I was an Air Force brat.
Yeah.
So I was always around.
So definitely wasn't Top Gun, because that's Navy.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Thank you for clarifying that.
You're welcome.
And the funny thing about it, I don't know why. Man, I don't know if I've ever even told people this. Yeah, I cried when my mom made me go see Top Gun. I was 10.
Nobody's going to make you go see the sequel. It's okay.
Yeah. But no, I was like, I don't want to go. But she's like, you love fighter jets. It's the,
Oh, I thought you cried when Maverick.
No, not in the movie.
When Goose.
When she told me I had to go see it. I was like, I'm not going to go see it. And she like, yeah.
Why didn't you want to go see it?
I don't know. I just remember making a big deal out of it. They remembered it too. And I liked it, but I was just not wanting to go. Yeah, it's like one of those memories where I remember like throwing the fit. I know the room that I was standing in. I know exactly where I was standing. I know where my mom was standing. It was
vivid.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, fighter pilot. Number 2.
Didn't like Tom Cruise.
Shocker
Who
here.
does?
Public speaker.
Number 2.
Yeah. For a living. Just go talk to people. Like in front of groups. That would be awesome. Because you get to travel when you do that.
Absolutely not.
And then, hopefully it's something I'm talking about I already know about, so it wouldn't be a whole lot of research involved. You get to meet the people, hey, we're hiring you to come and, motivate this group about such and such. And okay, well, tell me a little bit about your business. And then I could weave that in, and then give a 90 solid minutes and stay for a meet and greet and then go play golf.
90 minutes?
I was nervous in our business consulting group today, speaking in front of 7 people. I don't know how you do it.
You're speaking in front of hundreds of people right now.
They can't see me. I can't see them. They can just hear me. It's fine.
Just do it like Stevie Wonder, man. You just got to get up there and close those eyes.
Yeah, I don't mind it.
Yeah,
It doesn't bother me.
no, I'd love it. I've been in front of.
It used to bother me, like especially back in like high school, college, doing the speech classes and having to get up and give something on a topic that I didn't get to choose for myself.
Yeah.
Because I'm not passionate about it. But if I'm speaking about something from experience or something that I'm passionate about, I can actually speak intelligently. Intelligently.
Yeah, you can't say it, but you
I
can
can't
speak
say
it.
it, but I can speak intelligently about it.
Well, I did give a speech on video, the power of video,
Yeah,
a couple weeks ago in front of about 30 something people.
yeah.
I was nervous, but I got through it. But yeah, it's something I'm passionate about. So it was easy,
yeah, it's a lot
easy to
easier.
talk about.
I don't know. And like the bigger the crowd, the more energy I get from it, which is kind of interesting.
The bigger the crowd, the more vomit comes out before I go on stage.
No, I really enjoy it. It's been fun.
Well, I think if we ever did like
I think for me, the smaller groups are harder.
I enjoy the smaller groups as well. And I consider small like 30, but
yeah,
I've been in front of hundreds, like 500 or so, and I loved it, and especially when I came right out and I don't know what I did, but everybody laughed. I said something, and they're like, "Wow!" And I'm like, "I got them."
What do you call that?
Your attention getter.
I can't remember, but I was like, "Man, got them. We're right here.
Yeah.
We're going."
That's the Office episode when he's trying to sell the paper to get people to sign up to buy their paper, and he comes out and Kevin comes in, he's slapping hands, he's waiting for the music to kick on, and he's getting charged up in the back. Oh, that was go watch that.
The other cool thing about it would be an endless supply of AA batteries. So at these big speaking gigs, they replace batteries in all the electronic devices after every time they're turned on. So you normally go through like a they'll run through, so you'll get up there and you'll talk and make sure that the slides, if you have slides, are going like they should go, and the microphone's in a good place, and the coat that you're wearing is not gonna, hit it or whatever. And you go through all that, and then maybe there's multiple people, so you do the dry run. Well, as soon as you're done with that, you go backstage and you take all that stuff off, and then they literally rip the batteries out and set them aside, and then they reload them with new batteries for the next time they're going to be used. So whether you talk 5 minutes or 30 minutes or 2 hours, it's all new battery. And I know this. I've done it enough to. So one of the last speaking gigs I went to, it was like this, a big one. I was getting to know the folks in the back, which also is another tip. You treat those people really well.
Service.
But I was like, hey, you guys got any designation for these used batteries where they're going to go? He's like, no, man, we just always throw them away, and he showed me there's like this brick. It's almost like a 22 brick of 22 ammo, but it's all just a brick of batteries. And he had Sharpied on that thing. He's like, used. So that's like all the stuff they're going to throw away. So they literally just stack of new ones, and they take them out and they put them in. And as soon as you come off the stage, they take them out and put them in the used box. I'm like, well, man, if you don't mind, I got some kids and those Xbox controller remotes and all that kind of stuff. I'll take whatever you can give me. He's like, oh yeah, cool. So we did the whole thing. It was, a few day event, and I had to speak several times, but got up there right at the end, went back there, and I'm like, hey man, did you get a few batteries? He handed over 3 bricks of AA batteries.
All right, next time you do that, I need some.
Lasted me for, I don't know, a year and a half, 2 years. And it was like, I was just like, Will, you need some batteries? Here, get some batteries. I'm about to go somewhere. Oh, I'm going to put some new batteries in that flashlight for. But it was awesome. And the other thing, we're going really long on this. But I did have a problem at the airport because I only travel with carry-on typically if I'm just going to be for a few days. They were like, why do you have all the batteries? I'm like, because they're free. That's why I have them. Let me tell you a story. But they were like, yeah, that's a lot of batteries for you just to have in a carry-on. You doggone right it is. Number 1, a corporate hunting educator. So I had a friend of mine, we were just talking about this the other day. He met a guy that ran a business and said that he was a CEO, and said that the number one event that he held, and that this company had tickets to the Cowboys, season tickets at stadiums and basketball games and all kinds of stuff to entertain their customers and help build relationships with them, to do things together. And he said the number one event that had the best connection with the people that were in his business that he needed to make connections with was taking him hunting or fishing. Like he said, you could do 10 football games together or 1 hunting trip. You're going to be closer after that hunting trip than you would be after 10 football games together. It's just, he said, that's just the way it is. But then the problem is there's a lot of CEOs that are never going to go that route because they don't know anything about hunting, and they know that would expose them to be an idiot in that realm. So they're just never going to expose themselves like that. However, what if you can hire a corporate trainer to teach CEOs all the lingo, the terminology, how to shoot about whatever game that they're going to do to take their clients out on? That would be a cool job. So that's my number one job.
You just created this job for yourself, and you're putting it out on the wave links.
My buddy was the one that brought it up. And he's like, man, you ought to do this. I'm like, yeah, that would be great. But I don't know how to get that started. So if you're out there in podcast world listening to this,
I've got you.
I've got some great rates that get this thing going. And yeah, it's great. And I actually had the opportunity, and I've been on lots of stuff with clients, but there's a few hunts or fishing trips that I've been on, and I still remember those guys, just because it was pretty cool.
I can teach CEOs how to 3-shot.
That's right, man. Boom, boom, boom. If you got 3, use them.
That's right.
So you bring those CEOs out, and then you have the two of us come along so that it's a hunting crew.
No, we get Troy to film it, hunt it, and you just tell campfire stories.
I can teach him to shoot.
Nah, I don't know about that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, that's my number one.
I like it. I guess we're going to move on to a good word.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, Troy, fire away.
I need a good word after the social dilemma. All right. So we are still in the Chosen 40 Days of Jesus, book 2, Blue Book. Day 11, the good word is treasure. And this is kind of some good hope after all that negativity we were talking about earlier, all that anger and sadness that got built up in my heart. So the verse is Matthew 6:20 through 21. Do not lay up for yourselves treasures on earth where moth and rust destroy and where thieves break in and steal, but lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven, whether neither moth nor rust destroys and where thieves do not break in and steal. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. And so they talk about how, money is a good thing. And money can make life easier. And, sometimes we can strive too hard to get a lot of money. And I think I shared a couple weeks past, there's a time where I had a short amount of money, like almost no money.
Yeah.
Was worried about, putting food on the table. And that drove me to hope in Christ and just to pray more and stuff. And this is talking about, money is kind of the treasure that we see on earth, like the thing to attain, right? To make life easier. But here, Jesus is saying, lay up for yourselves treasure in heaven. And we really don't know what those treasures are going to be. Are they going to be material or are they going to be non-material? Is it, those things are, we're going to have to figure that out when we get there, right? Yeah, it's just unknown. But the key verse that they pointed out in here is, for where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. So whatever you put your heart in, that is where your treasure lies, right?
Yeah.
So, the sayings here are, show me your pocketbook and I'll show you what you like. Is your stomach driving your checkbook? Where's your money going?
Right.
That's where your heart is. So yeah, money is necessary to live and everything, and it's a tool to be used, but ultimately God provides everything that we have. Money, food, he provides everything.
I like that too, because especially how that verse starts out, store up your treasure in heaven. So what are you doing now? And it's kind of a delayed gratification kind of thing, right? I'm going to put the effort in now, put the work in now, because I know something better is coming, and that could be better based on what I'm doing now, who I'm surrendering to now, I guess you could say, not necessarily working for. But I was listening to, it was just a clip. I don't even know who the guy was, but he was on Rogan's podcast. He was a religious guy, and he said the drastic thing that he's seen that's changed in his world is like 30 years ago when he started out, he could have a room full of college students and say, how many people are really looking forward to heaven, like going to heaven? And he said about 80% of the people in the room would raise their hand. And he said today, 0%. He said most people chuckle at the thought that there even is a heaven. And then he started saying, well, that's one of the reasons why people are so set on trying to have everything that they've ever wanted now, because they don't think there's anything else, and so this fits right into that. Like, if all you're doing is trying to make everything that you have today be the end all be all, this is going to satisfy you, and there's nothing that's coming later, then, well, it's going to be a hard, sad life, because you're never going to be satisfied with that. But in this, store up your treasure in heaven, as in, work hard on your relationship with Christ here, not work hard to have as much money and things and tangible stuff that you have, which kind of goes against, being retired and independently wealthy.
If we want to be completely honest. We were just saying those would be nice things
I'm with you.
On earth, know.
I know.
And I am retired.
Yeah. But so you said something, concentrate and focus on your relationship with Christ. And I believe the true treasure in heaven is Christ and to be with him eternally. I believe that's where the treasure is. Because he is our hope, right? He resurrected from the dead. He's going to resurrect us from the dead. He is our hope, and he is our treasure. So
that's a great word to go out on.
Yep.
Thanks, man.
Awesome.
Yep.
All right. Appreciate y'all joining us. And you can actually find this book at thechosengifts.com if you would like to buy this book and follow along with us every week. And then you can read their excerpts as well.
Yeah, and if you buy it straight from there, you support the show, right?
Yep.
Yep.
So anyway, appreciate y'all joining us. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening to the Hardheaded Podcast. Don't forget to share this podcast with others to help us get the word out.
Also, if you haven't yet, please rate and review the show. This helps our podcast show up in other people's suggested shows that may or may not have listened to us before.
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.